Welcome in, everybody, once again to Titans Tube. My name is Justin. This is Jake, and this is going to be a Monday edition of recapping the Sunday game where the Tennessee Titans, thank you, got back on the winning track against the Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 31-10. And man, Jake, not Jag, your name's Jake. Don't want to make that mistake.
That's brutal.
Feels good, man. It feels good. This team has now moved to 9-4. We maintain our lead against the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC South. The division is far from tied up, though, as there's still 3 games left to play. Great win, Jake. This definitely felt like a kind of a get-right game. Jacksonville has so many issues, so many problems. But the Titans did what they had to do, needed to do. They went in there and took care of business. Derrick Henry smashed them in the mouth. He smashed them everywhere, all kinds of places. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? How you feeling about this Titans team after that win?
I am feeling great. Kind of in the preview video, I alluded to it, but I think myself as a Titans fan, I'm sure you felt the same way. And I'm sure lots of Titans fans felt this way, but we needed to see an ass kicking yesterday of the Jacksonville Jaguars to kind of get this fan base's confidence back into this team. Yes, it's the 1-11, now 1-12 Jacksonville Jaguars. We can't put a ton of stock into this game, but this Titans team is a good team. That's kind of what it boils down to. Are they Super Bowl contenders? We'll find out in January. It's all about getting hot at the right time. But for this team, the playoffs could have been in a little bit of doubt if the Titans lose this trap game, so to speak. I was kind of nervous that Mike Glennon was going to look like a Pro Bowler out there. He thankfully didn't. We will shout out the defense a little later. But exactly what Titans fans, especially myself, needed to see in this game. Just an absolute handling of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. Man, speaking of Mike Glennon, and I just want to make this point real quick, and that this Jaguars franchise is just complete incompetent garbage. And I'm sorry I have to say it like that, but if you're a Jags fan, dude, why are they even playing Mike Glennon? And I've seen some talk on social media about this, and that's because, clearly, is Minshew not better than Mike Glennon? He's clearly a better quarterback. So they're playing Mike Glennon to give them less of a chance to win the game, right? That's super deep conspiracy level talk there, but I don't get it. I don't know what the Jags are doing. Of course, right as Glennon gets pulled and Minshew comes in, of course he leads him right down the field to score a touchdown. And we had trouble against Minshew in the first game of in the first matchup between the two teams. So I don't know, man. Jacksonville's a mess, and as much of a hated rival they are, you got to feel bad for a Jacksonville fan, because and what's the point of even tanking, by the way, when Jacksonville has had a top 5 pick for decades, it feels like, and they still are at the bottom of the league. Tanking is not a shoo-in guarantee to work unless there's a Andrew Luck coming out of the draft, can't miss prospect. Lamar Jackson, he kind of fell off a little bit this year, but even Patrick Mahomes, was the 3rd quarterback picked in that draft after Trubisky. So you never know. Tanking is not going to save your team. I hate the idea of tanking personally, but anyway, I had to get that off my back. So thank God we got to face Mike Glennon instead of Gardner Minshew. Because well, you said we talk about the defense later, but 10 points given up by the defense is the lowest amount, the lowest total that they've given up all season long. So that was great to see. But man, is this team a Super Bowl contender? I think this offense is absolutely good enough to win a Super Bowl. This offense is amazing, Jake. They are so much fun to watch. We are so high-powered and have such talent at the skill positions. And this offensive line is still getting it done, too, even with the injuries at left tackle. We're on our 3rd-string left tackle. Derrick Henry still can go for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in a game. So, I guess if we want to just start talking about Derrick Henry, man, this is what would you say, Derrick Henry, episode over, that's the recap. Yep. This was a Derrick Henry game, man. 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm sure you've heard the stat. The first player in NFL history to have 4 such games where he eclipses 200 and gets 2 touchdowns. He's just on another level, man. This is elite peak Derrick Henry. Hopefully this can be sustained. I don't know. We give him the ball a whole lot, and running backs can wear down in their late 20s. Their primes usually don't last that long, but hopefully we get a few more years of this, because this is just so incredible, so amazing to watch. Love me some Tractorcito out there.
No doubt. And, we're watching history, Justin. We have to kind of stop and smell the roses a little bit. Derrick Henry is a historically good running back right now. So we have to just give credit where credit is due. Long live the king. Like you said, 26 attempts, 215 yards. He had a long run of 47, obviously the 2 touchdowns. I want to talk about another player at the skill positions here, Justin. I want to get an opinion because while you are going to see the highlight reel one-handed catch of A.J. Brown, and which is
so
I'm
good.
not taking anything away from that. I'm not taking anything away. That's spectacular. I can't remember the last time we've seen a player in a Titans jersey make that kind of catch. It feels like never. But
I think I know what you're about to say, though.
But he then follows up this highlight play with a 3rd down drop where Ryan Tannehill couldn't have handed him the ball better placement wise. What do you think?
Yeah,
What do you
it was
think
a
of this?
3rd and 1, 3-yard out routes, like not even a far pass. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's got to be just like up here. Like he wasn't concentrating. He was already thinking about run after catch, maybe just getting a little ahead of himself. But yeah, it's like, dude, like just do you need to tie one hand behind your back, because it seems like you better catch it with one hand than using both.
And
I don't know. It's a little perplexing.
I will give him credit. He bounced back from that drop. Obviously, his first first catch of the game was the splash one-handed touchdown. He did bounce back. He ended with 7 receptions, 112 yards, and then that spectacular highlight reel touchdown. So shout out to him. But these kind of drops in especially crucial moments like a 3rd and 1 when the team is kind of driving, they ended up faking the punt after that, which I thought was kind of a wild move. That was a little bit of a blockhead move. There's another blockhead move I would like to get to, but they ended up faking the punt and getting the 1st down, and it didn't matter. The offense sputtered out, ended up punting anyway. But A.J. Brown, man, oh man, I feel like he's only going to get better as he gets older and more experienced in the NFL. I feel like these drops are maybe, he is looking to do some damage after the catch because he is so good. I think that's a good point. But we'll see as he progresses. Shout out to Jeff Swaim, the 2nd leading receiver on the day. We always talk about Craig Stevens. We're big Craig Stevens fans. I think Jeff Swaim is a very Craig Stevens-esque in that, he's down on the depth chart. He's mostly a blocking tight end, but he's been showing ability to catch the ball when Tannehill does look to him and make those reads. He ended up 3 catches, 34 yards, and then he had the touchdown. So shout out Jeff Swaim for sure. The other blockhead move, Justin, I wanted to get your take on was the Titans are driving down the field. They're already up 7-0. They're kind of rolling. They get to a 3rd and 12 slant pass to Corey Davis. It is now 4th and 2 at the Jags, maybe 12-yard line or so. Going into the end zone, they hurry it up, rush the call. Derrick Henry is not on the field at all. They hand the ball off to Jeremy McNichols, who gets tackled for a 2-yard loss. Now, is that the play call you go with, Justin? I understand maybe trying to hurry it up, and I'm not going to pin it all on Jeremy McNichols getting the carry because the blocking was not very good on that play. I don't think Derrick Henry picks up that 1st down with that blocking on the play. I don't know. What did you think of that?
True. I think, I mean, in hindsight, that was blockhead. That was boneheaded move. I wanted to, right afterwards, I was like, just take the points, take the 10-0 lead. Get the 2-possession lead early, put the pressure on them to have to drive here to score. I liked, I kind of get what they were doing. I think they were just trying to hurry up, catch Jacksonville on their heels, and then pop them with a quick McNichols handoff. But I mean, they were ready for it, and that was down at like the 10-ish yard line. I mean, we were right there next to the end zone. So that was a huge play that it was, and then it was bam, bam, and like it was over. Then Jacksonville had the ball. I'd rather, if Henry's not in there, I'd rather see Tannehill or make a throw or try some play action. But handing it off to your backup running back in that kind of a situation, like how much is that practice? I wonder, like going through the week, like.
It felt Luke Stalker-esque, Remember that game against Houston a couple years ago? They gave it to Luke Stalker, almost the same exact situation. What are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed like, again, I don't think it was McNichols' fault that he didn't pick it up, but I feel like if they had practice that in a drill or something, then it's probably usually Derrick Henry in that spot. Like they were rushing everyone to the line, and they're like, let's catch them on their heels. Okay, we'll call this play. We have the backup in, but there's no time to rush out Henry. So let's go. Let's get this first down real quick. And it didn't work out. Yeah, it was frustrating. I was a little pissed.
Right there, I
And
would like to see maybe
away with
Art
nothing.
Smith. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you
No,
there.
I was finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to see Arthur
Keep
Smith.
going.
We've seen some very creative play calls, I think, especially, Tannehill QB keepers from a shotgun right there, I think is a good call. Every time you see Tannehill do the read option, obviously the defense hones in on Henry there,
Yeah.
and Tannehill usually walks, however long we need.
That's
So,
money. It's money on the 2-point conversions. Yeah.
yep.
He's good at the option runs.
So yeah, in a short yardage situation like that, you'd like to see Tannehill on a boot rollout. I think if you're going to go the kind of creative, fast moving, paced route there. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a blockhead call, but it ended
Yeah.
up not costing the Titans the game whatsoever. But this Titans defense, Justin, you alluded to it, 10 points, lowest point total of the year. Now, okay, grain of salt, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got to keep kind of reminding ourselves of that. But I want to shout out a player that I have not been high on this year. A lot of people have. I think he's very roller coastery, but Malcolm Butler maybe played his best game in a Titans jersey last week.
Yeah.
I know he had 2 picks against Buffalo, but they were kind of thrown right to him. One was a tip. But Malcolm Butler, wow. Shadowed DJ Chark the whole game and shut him down. Chark ended up with 2 catches, 16 yards, and I think it was on 9 targets. Malcolm Butler comes down with the interception, great read on the ball, kind of undercutting that route.
Yep.
And, every time it seemed like went to Chark, Malcolm Butler was step for step, knocking the ball out, making good tackles. So shout out Malcolm Butler. And I thought Ty Smith stepped up in a big way. Yeah. So I was afraid of this Jags receiving core with Chenault and Cole and especially DJ Chark. And they were shut down all day. I was very, very impressed with the way the Titans secondary played against this Jags offense.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you brought up Malcolm Butler. I did want to talk about him because he has been, especially these last several weeks, it feels like he's definitely been the lone really bright spot on a pretty bad secondary so far this year. And he has gotten a lot of criticism, early on, and then early on in his Titans tenure a couple years ago. I think he struggled like the whole first half of the season in his first year in a Titans uniform. But it's not all unwarranted. And even this year against the Jags in the first game, I mean, Chark had himself a pretty good game against Butler. He got lit up by Justin Jefferson against the Vikings. Jefferson went off for like 170 yards in his 3rd game ever. Who else? Houston, Deshaun Watson ripped apart the secondary, and I think Malcolm Butler was a victim of a lot of those passes. But man, he's definitely just playing so good right now, and you can like see it when he plays it. Like you can see, like when he plays, he just looks like a player that's completely, fully locked in, and there's nothing going on between his ears except for what he has to do on that particular play. Like he's shadowing receivers. He's not letting any separation happen. I think he's up to like 13 passes defensed on the year so far. So, I mean, I'll throw this out there, Jake. How do you feel about trying to re-sign Malcolm Butler whenever I think a couple months ago people were thinking like, yeah, this is going to be Butler's last year. He's going to walk and another team will pick him up for money. But it's kind of like a Corey Davis situation where they're playing themselves into the conversation of being re-signed by the Titans. I mean, I know we don't have Adoree Jackson back, but what's up with this knee thing? Is this thing going to linger throughout the rest of his career? I mean, I don't know how extreme that is going to affect him long term. But if we let Butler walk, then what do we have at the cornerback position on this team? So I think it's something to look into. I would definitely be down for bringing Butler back again for a couple more years.
As far as it's going to have to be the right price, at least for me. I think there's while the Titans cornerback group has been so razor thin this year, we've seen tons of guys, Ty Smith, Kareem Orr, Breon Borders come up from practice squads to start opposite Malcolm Butler with Adoree Jackson out. It's a tough call. I think Malcolm Butler still got 1 year on his deal, if I'm not mistaken. Early in the year, his price tag, I don't think warranted or his play rather didn't warrant his price tag that the Titans are paying him.
Yeah.
They're paying him a good amount of money to be a solid corner. And, you see the highlights of him getting burnt by Will Fuller in that Texans game and, being 10 yards behind somebody, taking the top off of the defense. And that's frustrating, especially when you're paying a guy top dollar. Bringing him back, if it's for the right price, I don't hate Malcolm Butler. I never have been huge on him, but I don't dislike him. I think he brings kind of an attitude and a swagger and a little bit of fire to this defense. I like what you said about him he always seems laser focused and tenacious, even when he is playing poorly. Even when he does have a bad game,
he doesn't get too down.
Mm-hmm.
He always bounces. He bounces right back up and gives 100% on the next play, no matter how many catches he gives up. I mean, he's right back in there to make a play on the next series.
Shifting a little bit. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and we also still don't know what we have in Christian Fulton because, we have a lot invested in him being a second-round draft pick, but he's just been injured. So without Butler, I'm not crazy about the state of this cornerback group moving forward. But, just general shout-out, Butler. We see you, man. You're playing. You're balling. Keep it up. We definitely need you to be doing that because the rest of the guys out there can struggle. But, like you said, Ty Smith – played okay. He came in and did a nice job.
For sure. And, staying on the defensive side of the ball, I wanted to shift and shout out the run defense yesterday. James Robinson held to just 67 yards, 12 carries. He did have a long one, I think, for about 47 yards. That was the one gash. But, if you take away that one 47-yard run, he's got 11 carries for 20 yards. So that's a pretty solid day from the defense overall. I mean, Mike Glennon only had 85 yards passing. Yeah,
85 from Mike Glennon. I was just going to say, I think his long run also came like in the second half, right? Like garbage time. It didn't seem like very impactful in the game itself. So
correct.
Very effectively shut down James Robinson, who's had a great rookie season. But Glennon was what you kind of were hoping he would look like. So we had success against him. Sorry, I kind of intercepted your
no.
Butler, Mike Glennon points, if you will.
Yeah, I got you. Mike Glennon looked the way you would expect Mike Glennon to look against an 8-4 now 9-4 Titans team, despite the defensive inconsistencies we've had throughout the year. I wanted to pull up, going back to the point that this is a really good football team, I think still. Maybe not Super Bowl contender, but the Titans are a good team. And I want to highlight the last 2 minutes of the first half, or the last 3 minutes, I guess, of the first half. The Titans get the ball back, 2-minute drill. Derrick Henry takes them all the way down the field, ends up, getting that 40-yard run, 40-yard touchdown. And then the Jags only have, maybe 40 seconds left, somewhere around there. The Titans get a 3-and-out. Get the ball back with 8 seconds left on their own 35, somewhere around there. And they ended up converting that into
like run out the clock,
an
right?
extra 3 points. Even the announcers in the game were saying, don't expect a lot to happen here. Corey Davis gets a great, 15-yard out to the sideline. Perfect. Jonnu Smith catches a little 8-yard slant in the middle. Timeout, 1 second left. It was perfectly executed, Justin. Good teams do that. The Titans should have only scored 7 points at most before the end of the half there. They ended up turning it into 10 and kind of just really widening that gap, especially right before half. And then they got the ball back in the second half and dealt even more damage. So that's what good football teams do. I was so excited, so filled with joy to see that sequence.
I was like, oh, well, there's the correction for that 4th and 2 turnover stop from the McNichols run. There's that 3 points because I can't believe we pulled that off. I was so surprised and very happy with Gostowski over 50 yards. So, that's going to be money.
Cash money. And he hit all the extra points.
Yeah. So that's another game. That's like 3 in a row with no missed kicks. I think it's time to put him in the Titans Ring of Honor personally. But that's
comeback player of the year within the own year.
Yeah, right. What's up with the Jags just being the worst NFL team of all time at closing out first halves against the Titans? Because I went back to make sure I was right about this. But in that week 2 game, end of the first half, there's like even less time. They do that squib kick kickoff, and it hits one of our guys on the front line. of the coverage or the return team, and he just like falls on the ball. We get up and run a single play for like 10 yards, just like we did in yesterday's game, and we got a field goal out of it. Like, dude, what? I can't believe that happened twice against the Jags this season, where we just get a cheap field goal at the end because of their incompetence, really. I don't know, man. I'm very down on the Jags, and I'm just trashing them a lot this episode. But like, it's like, come on,
That's
like,
Titans tube, man.
This is ridiculous. Yeah, and that's Titans tube for you. But yeah, I did. Yeah, I had that point in there, so I did want to talk about that end of the half sequence. So that was great to see. I mean, this offense can pull off some crazy stuff in any situation. Like, we can battle back into a game being down 38-7. You better hope that we don't have more than 1 second to run a play right before half is over to get field goal range, because we could do that. We can make a miraculous throw happen. But yeah, it was awesome. It was great to see, like, the things that this offense is capable of. Just kind of blows my mind on a weekly basis. It's like, man, we aren't ever counted out in any situation ever. This is probably the best offense I think the Titans have ever had.
Top 5 offense. I mean, they are
in the league,
firing on all cylinders.
Total, yeah, across the league, we're definitely a top 5 offense. Man, I don't know. Can we talk about Tannehill again? I love talking about this man, Ryan Tannehill. Dude, again, perfect. He is the perfect quarterback for what we do and what we need. And he is just – it's almost like surprising to see him make a mistake in a game at this point. I mean, he's up to like 28 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, which is already the most touchdown passes a player in a Titans uniform has ever thrown for. Not sure what Warren Moon's career high was for the Oilers. I think
George
but it's gotta be within
holds
reach.
The record at maybe 36, I believe I saw. He's got an outside shot. He's going to have 3 touchdowns a game to beat the franchise record, but he has already eclipsed the Titans era, 99 to present day record.
Yeah. So just one of the best quarterbacking seasons we've ever seen here in a Titans uniform. What was I going to say? Like, the mistakes he does make, it's like he gets sacked because I feel like maybe he holds onto the ball for a slight second too long, trying to read the field. So that's like throw the ball away. Or a very head-scratching interception. He has thrown up some, like, interceptions. Like, dude, what did you do? What did you see there? But that's like counting on one hand, like the mistakes I've seen him make this season. He's so good and perfect and knows exactly what he's doing. He has complete command of this offense. And dare I say, the sacrilegious thing, in that I think Tannehill is more important to this team than Derrick Henry is. I think without Tannehill, would you trust this team if Logan Woodside had to come in and start a game for you?
No, not a chance. We saw Logan Woodside come in the second half. Where did he end up here? I don't know. He did not have a good day passing. In his limited window there in garbage time. He did have a great 18-yard bootleg scramble. I'll give Logan Woodside credit there.
Oh yeah.
But yes, that's a tough one, Justin. I was maybe ready to embrace a different kind of debate around Ryan Tannehill, but is Ryan Tannehill more important on this Titans offense than Derrick Henry? They're so together, they're so linked, and that's what makes this Titans offense great, and they are firing on all cylinders. Because
Derrick Henry sets up the play action.
They complement each other so well.
That is so crucial, to Tannehill's success is utilizing the play action once Derrick Henry gets rolling. So yeah, you're right. It's hard to take away one and not the other and kind of measure where the team might be at if we were missing one of those pieces.
I feel like if you took either out, I mean, the offense sputters, If Derrick Henry's not playing, Tannehill's not looking as great. If you take Tannehill out, Derrick Henry's going to not look as great because they're not going to respect the pass.
Yeah, but I do have a good example of an instance. Remember last year when we sat Henry against the New Orleans Saints, who came into Nashville, and that was kind of a weirdly meaningless game? And I thought Tannehill played pretty well, and we were very competitive in that game up until I think the fourth quarter. They laid like a final nail in the coffin touchdown pass on us. Oh, that was the Khalif Raymond hit to the head, and he fumbled it. That killed a drive that was promising. But I don't know that we're very good against one of the top NFC teams last year without Derrick Henry. But
that's fair.
I digress. I'm just trying to say Ryan Tannehill is clutch. He's one of the best trades this franchise has ever made. Probably maybe the best trade we've ever made. I mean, J-Rob has been killing it.
I mean, a godsend. When the Titans
Yeah.
traded for Ryan Tannehill to be Mariota's backup, if you think, a year and a half ago, to your mindset, you're not sure about Mariota. He's really not progressing. He's going into year 5 to lead the offense, and then he sputters incredibly early, and you're like, well, we have Ryan Tannehill in our back pocket. What's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen, you have a top 5 offense in the NFL all of a sudden, kind of overnight, seemingly, going from that Denver game to when Ryan Tannehill really started clicking 2-3 games in. This offense exploded, and they have continued that explosion into this year. People were very doubting of a Ryan Tannehill-led offense to continue that success. Well, here we are going into week 15 of this season, and this is a top 5 offense. So haters, naysayers, sorry, Ryan Tannehill is good.
Yeah. If you're still doubting Ryan Tannehill, there's no way any Titans fan is doubting Ryan Tannehill, but if you're an NFL fan who just kind of looks at the numbers, looks at the stats, Derrick Henry's going off, and Ryan Tannehill doesn't scare me, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Ryan Tannehill is having an amazing year. He's so deadly accurate. He puts the ball on the money. He's so competitive. He's great. He's great. Love fest for Ryan Tannehill. We can move on from that, but man, it's just so nice to have all these pieces on offense. We're so much fun to watch. If our defense can just be average, we're a Super Bowl contender. I think our offense is plenty good. I think we made a joke about it last week in the preview, but hold the opposing team to just under 30 points. I don't care how good the opponent's defense is. I trust this offense to drop 30 on anybody.
Yep.
Just hopefully the defense, this is a confidence building game for them. Only gave up 10 points. I looked up we were 5 of 14 and giving up third downs, which is very good considering
compared
how we started.
To what we've seen. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're seeing like 13 out of 14 and 10 out of 12 third down conversion rates. And it's like, okay, we can't get off the field at all. But another negative. All right, so we can wrap up this game unless you have something else to say about it. I have 3 negative points because it can't all be roses and sunshine here.
Fair enough. I will just do one caveat. I'm sorry, before you get to your criticism, just
bring it.
It can't be understated. Derrick Henry, we're watching history. Please, Titans fans, stop and smell the roses and appreciate Derrick Henry while he is here. We don't know how long this run is going to go for, but this dude is wrapping up the FedEx Ground Player of the Week in the 3rd quarter. He doesn't even play the full game, and he's got 200 yards. I think you said earlier, we took him out early in the 4th quarter, and he had 215 yards rushing, easily the most out of, I think, anybody in the NFL this Sunday, if I didn't miss anything. Incredible, just an absolutely incredible talent. I love Derrick Henry. Love Fest is now over for Derrick Henry as well. Please get to the negative points. Sorry, we have to move,
we have to end on
a lower topic.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, Henry. I think I heard like some Titans players were on the sideline kind of urging Vrabel to put Henry back in the game for one more carry because he was at like 195. I think that was the story. I'm not sure. So he did send him back out there, and he pops up a 20-yard run, and it's like, of course. That would have been – I wish he would have gone all the way for a touchdown. That would have been like the most typical Derrick Henry move. Like, okay, I'll get my 200 en route to another long touchdown run.
For sure.
Anyway, so the quick negatives, the 4th and 2 McNichols run, we already got that out of the way. That was the one negative thing I saw. Second negative thing, Corey Davis follows up a career day with his first fumble of the season. Hate to see that. Man, I thought, Corey Davis has been the most consistent that he has been for this Titans team all year. I mean, he still made plays. He still caught, that clutch pass at the end of the first half to help set up that final field goal. And he actually caught the pass to set up that 4th and 2 that ended up failing. So, I mean, he still showed up a little bit, but the fumble, kind of sucked to see. So if you have to point out negatives, boom, there's negative. Hopefully he can.
And with this Titans offense, I feel like we've seen them do such a good job this year. I mean, the Titans have won 9 games because they don't turn the ball over, really. I mean, Cleveland last week obviously is kind of a wash your hands kind of game, throw the tape away. They had 3 turnovers in that game. But this season, you can count Ryan Tannehill's turnovers on one hand. And,
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, for his first fumble all year, not even lost, or, he hasn't even fumbled, period,
Yeah.
last week. And then Corey Davis has his first one this week. A.J. Brown's dropping a couple balls. But overall, I mean, hard to complain. Fumbles are going to happen. Turnovers are going to happen. Let's just not make it a habit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can take those things as long as you consistently bring us that top 5 offense week in and week out. Because that, we did talk about, the defense not being able to, or like hold up if the offense almost has to play flawless, I guess is what I'm trying to say, in order for us to like be in these games and win them, because the defense has given up so much. But
yeah,
the defense is, if they are going to turn things around, then yeah, we can afford a turnover, a boneheaded play call here and there, and give the ball up on downs. But yeah, for the most part, loving everything about this offense that we're seeing. Final negative, even though the defense had a good game, we put up another goose egg in the sack column. Jake, I don't know what the numbers are, but I feel like we have to be trending in historically bad territory when it comes to getting sacks. I think we have 13 or 14 on the season, and there's already players with more than that. I mean,
yeah, individually, yeah,
individual players more than that. So I don't know what the deal is. Like, I love Jeff Simmons. I think Harold Landry is a really good player, but we're just not hitting home. I mean, we brought in help with Clowney and Beasley. Those didn't work out. Roberson was slow coming out the gate with an injury, but, I think he got a pressure. He got close to his sack in that game yesterday. But, yeah, we are just not bringing down the quarterback. Like, when Minshew got in there, we weren't even second Glennon, and he's a statue. But when Minshew got in there, I mean, he was scrambling around. He was running circles around our defense. Just when the pocket broke down, we can't catch a mobile quarterback, much less reach a statue quarterback when they're just standing in the pocket.
Yeah.
So that's at this point, I don't expect it to get better. Like, we've had a 13-game sample size, so it is what it is, and hopefully the coverage can hold up long enough to help out the pass rush. But it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks that we have just an abysmal pass rush in the sack department, at least.
Yeah, it's I don't know what you kind of make of it. I like what you said about how, as a Titans fan, you kind of hit the pillow every night, like maybe, or every Saturday night, and you wake up, it's Sunday. Maybe today's the day the Titans defense puts it all together and kind of does it all. But it's just, I don't think it's going to happen at this point. You're right. We have too big of a sample size. We know what this defense is. You would like to see Kevin Byard make more of an impact, maybe Rashaan Evans more of a splash impact. He dropped an interception. I will shout out Kevin Byard. He had a great safety play. I think it was Cole coming up over the top. Glennon threw a long pass to him. Byard kind of peeled back and laid a perfect hit. Not helmet to helmet, not defenseless. It was textbook. And knocked the piss out of Cole, I think it was, and knocked the ball out. So that was a great fundamental, maybe splash play from Kevin Byard. But, we're used to Kevin Byard, multiple interception games. He's always around the ball. So you'd like to see those kind of bigger players on the defense step up and make a couple more big plays. But, yeah, this defense is what it is. And frankly, I think it's holding this team back from being a Super Bowl contender. But I will say that window, Justin, we've talked about, we've sprinkled it through this year. The Titans had this year and probably next year as a Super Bowl window. They're going to make the playoffs this year. The Titans' playoff percentages jumped up to over 95%, I think. And with the win against the AFC South opponent, the Titans have now clinched the tiebreaker over the Colts, if I read that correctly. If the Titans and Colts end up with an even record now that the Titans have gotten their 4th win in the division, the Titans will trump the Colts in the tiebreaker. So, very fitting sweatshirt to wear today, Justin. I don't know if you wanted to show and tell about that.
Did you see? I can't believe you caught that. This is an AFC South Division champions from 2008, the last time we won the division.
Yep.
So hopefully we can get a new updated hoodie for me here. Jeez, that's been
graphic design looks like it's from 2008.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's some 2008 design right there.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to look into that tie-breaking scenario, because I think we're 4-1 in the division with still that game against Houston. But aren't the Colts like 2-2? Like, couldn't we both end up finishing 4-2 with the division record? But maybe we have the next tiebreaker after that or something like that.
I believe so. I don't know. We know we love Mike Herndon here. I heard it through that avenue. Those guys over at Broadway Sports. Shout
I
out
trust them,
Broadway Sports. I trust them almost with every Titans piece that they put out. So I think they know what they're doing. I'm gonna put my faith in them. If they're wrong, we'll get out the pitchforks and torches. But I think the Titans have significantly improved their AFC South chances with the win over Jacksonville. Something else that could improve their AFC South win chances, Justin, is this game next week, albeit against an NFC opponent in the Lions. Right before we came on, we found out Matthew Stafford's availability is very much in question for the Titans game next week. And if there was anything that scared you about this Lions game next Sunday, it's Matthew Stafford's going to pick us apart, especially if we give him time. He's going to go for 400, 500 yards passing probably.
Yeah.
So with his availability in question, the Titans can pick up a huge, huge major win next week as well to get to 10 wins and kind of really solidify those playoff chances, as well as, the AFC South.
Break the 9-7 curse. It could be
that
over,
would be
Jake.
Great. We'll have champagne on the podcast. we will be living large at 10 wins.
Dude, yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that can beat us, like you said, is this Stafford. He would totally pick apart this defense. It would be a shootout, I think, if he's a go for this game. But if we have to play Chase Daniel, we have no excuse to drop that game, in my opinion.
None.
So that would be a huge game, a huge win for our playoff and AFC South chances. And also the Colts have to play the Steelers again, and I know the Steelers are kind of reeling. Actually, let's talk about this real quick.
I'm game.
I actually think the Colts have a decent chance of winning out. They looked real good against the Raiders last week. They look super solid. They're playing really good football right now. Steelers are on their heels. I think they can beat the Steelers, and I think the Colts play the Jags and the Texans.
They have Houston, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. Yes, correct.
Yeah, and I know Jacksonville beat them the first week, but that's not happening again. They're not going to lose to Jacksonville again. They beat the Texans barely. They barely won against the Texans 2 weeks ago, but dude, I could see this Colts team finishing 12-4, which means we would have to win out. That means we can't lose to Green Bay either, or Houston at the end of the year. So yeah, this Colts team is scary. And to take it a step further, I'm already getting into playoff territory, but looking at this AFC playoff field,
we're 95+%, Justin. We can kind of start talking about these things. We need to start having the conversations about January.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but when talking about this AFC playoff field and potential Titans opponents in any round, I'll give you, of course, the Chiefs. I want to avoid the Chiefs at all cost.
Who does not?
Right on their heels, I don't want to play the Colts again, man. I would rather play the Steelers over the Colts. I'd rather play the Browns again. I would rather play the Bills again, even though they're a better team than from when we beat them earlier in the season. But, dude, I know we just blew out the Colts, but they blew us out too in the first week. So it's very much of like a coin flip thing. Like, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but this Colts team still terrifies me. And other than the Chiefs, they're the team I want to see least in the playoffs coming up.
Mm-hmm. If Indy, going to Indy's next 3 games, I don't see them winning out. I see them dropping at least one. I think they're kind of like the Titans in that, they look so good for a stretch of 3 to 4 weeks, and then they'll drop one. And they look good for a stretch of 3 to 4 weeks, and then they'll drop one. I think this Houston game coming up for Indy is quite intriguing. I think for some, it might be Titans fanhood bias, but I think Deshaun Watson's going to pull one over on the Colts. I kind of feel it in my bones. They almost did it last week. It crushed me last week that Houston fumbled away that game, because with the Titans win today, the AFC South would be somewhat buttoned up if the Colts had lost last week, but not the case. I didn't have faith in the Raiders to win this week against the Colts. I thought Indy was going to win that game convincingly, and they did. Crazier things have happened with that Jacksonville game, week 17 there, Justin. I mean, it's a divisional game. Anything can happen.
That. Yeah,
exactly. And, Pittsburgh's still a good football team. I mean, you're looking at a Colts team who got beat by the Baltimore Ravens, who, I would say Pittsburgh Steelers are better than the Ravens. So it's kind of that argument.
Yeah,
I think the
they
Colts
swept
are
the
going to
Ravens.
drop one.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Colts can drop one. If they do, that's going to pretty much ensure that the Titans end up on top and we get a new AFC South champions hoodie. That is the most important part of it all.
Yeah. Oh, you said it. Man, I hope they lose like to the Texans. I would love to just go into that Green Bay game. It's Christmas Eve. I wouldn't be as nervous if it wasn't a must-win game for the division title. I can just watch Derrick Henry and Aaron Rodgers and enjoy just a fun, hopefully competitive, but fun, clean game around the holidays. And I won't be stressing out about we have to win this for the division.
Yeah.
My Christmas is going to be ruined if we don't win this game. Kind of like the New Orleans Saints game last year. We're in week 16.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, this game really doesn't matter. We're more worried about the Houston game. Ironically enough, we play Houston again, week 17.
And it's a theme, man. If you remember a couple years back, the Rams in week 16 at Nissan Stadium was very much the same scenario. So I don't know if you're going to get the Aaron Rodgers versus Derrick Henry matchup. I mean, they might rest the king. I know 2,000 yards is obtainable. I don't think he's going to get there. But man, who knows?
Yeah.
This team rallies around Derrick Henry. I think they want to see him get 2,000 yards. I think he's got the rushing title almost on lock. First rushing title repeater since LaDainian Tomlinson back in the day.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that develops. Any closing thoughts here, Justin, about this Titans team moving forward? I know we can't put too much stock in this game as it is a 1-12 football team, but it was so great to see the Titans go out and beat an inferior opponent convincingly.
Yeah, right. There's no messing around. There was no. I was thinking, oh man, Arthur Smith getting cute, trying to go for it at the 10-yard line on 4th and 2. We're gonna let this Jags team hang around, aren't we? But no, it ended up not mattering at all that we didn't get that. So yeah, it's good. It's good to know that the Titans can beat up on the bad teams and not slip up into a trap game. Even though we lost to the Bengals earlier this year, that was a disappointment. But that was a Joe Burrow onslaught that we suffered. But it still feels good. It feels good. It's okay to feel good about a win, regardless of how poor of a team the opponent is. It's fun to be excited. Yeah, about Derrick Henry and watching him run rampant over these teams. Dude, it's great. It's great.
It's fun to win. It is fun to win, and especially after a game like the Titans had against Cleveland last week. We talked about it in the preview. Just getting that taste out of your mouth has got to feel good for this football team. And hopefully, hopefully we didn't speak too soon on falling into a trap game. I mean, we have Detroit coming up. We have Houston, who's a very squirrely, team down in the trenches down there. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. But I have a little more faith in this Titans team to hopefully close out the division in the closing 3 weeks than I did going into this game. I was worried that this was going to be a shootout. Mike Glennon was going to have a good day, but thank God he did not. Yeah. And hopefully we can carry this confidence down into week 17 and then the playoffs.
Boom. Well said. I like it. Confidence builder. Don't overlook Detroit, regardless of Chase Daniel or Matthew Stafford being the quarterback. Just keep rolling. Let's start to stack these wins towards the end of the season, work on getting that AFC South crown and maybe higher up in the seeding. If Buffalo drops the game, we've got that tiebreaker. We'd be that 3 seed, which would be super clutch because that would mean I think that we would avoid the Chiefs, the 1 seed, if we won that first round game. So we definitely need to try to win out and hope the Bills drop one. So we do are in that position to avoid the Chiefs until the AFC Championship.
Avoid the Chiefs at all costs is kind of the AFC formula. If you're in an AFC playoff team right now, is just avoid the Chiefs like the plague. Somebody
take them out. Yeah, please. But that's all I got. So we got a 9-4 team looking to continue to try to lock up this division here next week, Jake. So
you'd love to
I'm
see
looking forward to it.
Yeah. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thanks for watching another episode. Give us your thoughts on the game. Justin, do you have anything to take us to the barn?
Nope.
All right.
Just tighten
Sounds
up.
Good. Tighten up. That's a perfect ending here. Peace, everybody, and have a great week.
Peace.